your capabilities, your abilities to be successful are directly correlated to your level of competence. How good are you at certain things? Well, the way to get good at certain things is to know a lot about those certain things. And the way to know a lot about certain things is self-improvement, personal development. But even at a deeper level, Richard, I believe that I've learned a lot about sales and marketing and just everything, right? Business, the world. The thing I've learned the most about from personal development is myself.
Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. I am your host, Richard, and I will be with you throughout this journey. This show is here to empower individuals to do more in life professionally. You will find a variety of topics that will help you to be more productive and more successful. So join me and the professionals from different industries as we bring education and knowledge for more success.
Hi, everybody. My name is Richard. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. Today's topic is personal development. I have the pleasure to have Kevin Palmieri. I forgot to ask before I pressed the record button if your name was well pronounced. Is it okay?
You crushed it. You crushed it, Richard.
Thanks. So I have Kevin with me here. And I'm very glad that he's here. He's a successful entrepreneur. And his journey, I've listened to some of his interviews on other podcasts, and I was pretty impressed with his journey and the energy that he has. And that's why I wanted to touch the topic, personal development. So Kevin, give us a brief resume of who you are, and maybe in 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and then we'll jump in right into the topic.
Right on. Well, Richard, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for those kind words. So I am Kevin Palmieri. I am the host, the CFO, and the co-founder of Next Level University. We are a global top 100 podcast with over 1,000 episodes. We have listeners in 125 plus countries, and we just crossed 600,000 downloads sometime last week. We do 7 episodes a week, and our ultimate goal is to bring holistic self-improvement, personal development to the masses. That's really what we're playing for, and I'm blessed to be able to do this for a living, which at one point was just a dream. So that's why I have the energy, Richard. I just try to stay grateful for the fact that I get to do this.
Great. That's why I brought you in, because as soon as I heard you, I said, yeah, this guy has a lot of energy, and I like the story. So my first question is personal development really necessary for someone who wants to be successful, and how important it is?
Yeah, I really believe that. I think of it from this perspective. Your capabilities, your abilities to be successful are directly correlated to your level of competence. How good are you at certain things? Well, the way to get good at certain things is to know a lot about those certain things. And the way to know a lot about certain things is self-improvement, personal development. But even at a deeper level, Richard, I believe that I've learned a lot about sales and marketing and just everything, right? Business, the world. The thing I've learned the most about from personal development is myself. And I believe that when you invest in yourself and you start to understand yourself at a deeper level, you have new awarenesses. And when you have new awarenesses, you can create new behaviors. And when you can create new behaviors, you get new opportunities. And when you get new opportunities that you can capitalize on, you get better results. So I believe self-improvement and personal development is a necessary key for long-term success. And just an add-on to that, I think a lot of people find success, and the reason they have that midlife crisis is because they never did the personal development work along the way, and they realize, oh, you know what? I just spent 30 years building a life that I don't even want. If they checked in earlier, they might be able to avoid that. I know that's what really happened to me. I had a midlife crisis at 26, and that was the best thing that ever happened because it made me look in the mirror and figure out who is Kevin.
Hmm. Interesting. So, what's if someone wants to start the process of personal development? What are the first things that they have to think about, or where do they have to go?
The first thing I would say, so when we talk about personal development, one of my thoughts goes initially to self-awareness. So I would start simply. Start asking a simple question, why? When you wake up in the morning and this is just an analogy or an example, and you grab your cell phone and pick up your cell phone, why? Why are you doing that first thing in the morning? I don't know, because I always do. Okay, why? You keep asking yourself why, you might get down to the understanding that, wow, I might have a slight addiction to social media. Interesting. That piece of awareness is going to help you definitely move into your future. So I would say start asking those questions. Start asking why. Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? Why am I avoiding this? Why am I running to this? Those types of questions are very, very impactful, especially early on. And you got to figure out, what do you want to learn? Really? Do you want to learn more about money? There's a million books about money out there. Do you want to learn more about relationships? There's a million books out there about relationships. Health is the same thing. So you really have to figure out what is important to me and what do I think would be valuable to add to my arsenal of knowledge. And I call it specialized learning. For me, it was very much in the beginning, I was learning about the fundamentals. You are the sum average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, that sort of thing. I was really learning about the fundamentals of personal development. And then I started learning about money. And then I started learning about relationships. So I believe it really depends on where you are, but podcasts, YouTube, books, audible.com, self-improvement is the most accessible it has ever been. You just have to figure out, what do you want to learn and why do you want to learn it? And then if you can learn yourself at the same time, you'll really be able to compound that, I believe.
Do you think personal development is a long time? Not a long time, but do you think it's a lifelong journey process?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There's people out there that say, like, I'm educated, and that's good. That's good to be educated, but I believe that anybody can be educated forever as long as that's part of their core values. So yeah, 100%. This life ends when it ends, but it doesn't mean our education has to end when we're done with school or when we're 40 or when we find quote unquote success. I believe it's an everyday thing. And if you do it every day a little bit, I mean, that really, really adds up.
Mm-hmm. How was your process as an entrepreneur in regards to personal development?
In the very beginning, so I went through a hard breakup. And after that breakup, I started learning, and I tried to learn as much about myself as possible. And I ended up staying at my job for another year, a year and a half. And then I ended up leaving my job. And when I left my job, I was thrown in the deep end of entrepreneurship. I had no money. I was living in credit card debt, and I had to figure out how to be an entrepreneur. So for me, I went to people that I trusted and I said, hey, I'm at blank in my journey. So I'm basically at the startup phase of being an entrepreneur. What books do you suggest? And somebody would say, time management. You're at the point in your journey where you need to understand time management and you need to understand productivity and how to time block. Cool. Awesome. And then what I did was I kept asking people, when I finished that book, I would say, hey, what do you recommend for somebody who is here now? That's really what I did, is I used other people that I trusted. That's an important facet. Other people that I trusted, I asked them based on their experience what they thought would be valuable, useful, and the best use of my time. And that really, really helped me. And I do that for other people, right? When people ask me, what book do you recommend? I'll say, well, where are you? It really depends on where you are, what I recommend. So it was very much, it was productivity initially. Then it was mindset, so I could understand myself at a deeper level. And then it transitioned very much into business because that was the season that we were in. And that's kind of where it's stayed. I've stayed pretty heavy in business.
Okay. Do you see, what are the mistakes you see people do concerning personal development?
Mm. I was very, very guilty of this. I assumed the way I was the way I was forever. And I believe that's why people don't do personal development in the first place, because they think to themselves, well, how much can I really change? I mean, is this book really going to change my life? It's not. I'm not going to learn anything. That was the big thing for me, is I didn't understand at the beginning how malleable we are as human beings. And I remember asking somebody that. I said, why should I read this book? I don't think it's really going to do anything for me. So I think one of the most common mistakes is not understanding the long-term value of personal development. I think another one, the second one, is listening to the wrong people. There's a lot of people out there that think personal development is bad, or they think it's a cult, or they think it's whatever, right? And I understand there are negative sides of it where people take advantage of it, but at the end of the day, it's your job to improve your life. And if the people around you don't support that, those people might not be the best people to be in your life. And that's a hard one too, is we allow the judgment of other people to stop us from bettering our lives. So I would say those are probably the two biggest ones. And then I would say the third one is you don't give it enough time. You read a book, you read 2 books, and then nothing happens. And you assume, well, this was kind of a waste, when it just takes time, and it takes it every day, really.
Mm-hmm. And how much do you think someone needs to invest in themselves?
I think it's personal. I think it depends on where they are in their journey. But this is what I would say. If you're willing to spend it on something that you don't need, you should be able to spend it, or you should be willing to spend it on something you do need. So if you're going to go out, if you spend $500 a month on dinners out, takeout, that you don't need, you can spend $500 a month on self-improvement. I won't say a car, because cars obviously bring you places, but if you're spending money, you're not getting any return on that, you can probably afford to just cross that over to something that will bring you money eventually. So I think it's personal. I think it depends. But if you're throwing away money, I would take that money and put it towards personal development, and it'll pay back. I mean, buying a $1,000 TV is cool, but paying $1,000 for a year of coaching that might help you make $1 million, or be more fulfilled, or be more aligned, or have a better relationship, I would say that's definitely more worth it.
Do you think someone needs a mentor, or they could do it on their own?
I believe you can do it on your own. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have done it on their own. I don't believe in the term self-made, because unless you built the cell phone, I didn't build Zoom. So I can't be self-made, because we run our business on Zoom, and we run virtual businesses, right? So you can only be so self-made. But I think that what a mentor does is it helps you either skip steps. That mentor can help you avoid pitfalls that they fell into. They can raise your awareness. They can give you a perspective that you don't have. I don't believe it is 100% necessary, but I do believe it is very beneficial if you want to get to your goals faster, with potentially less pain, less wasted time, and a greater perspective. And it's nice to have somebody on the journey with you. Being an entrepreneur can be lonely. It can be a lonely journey. So having somebody who understands what you're going through is also very beneficial. But I wouldn't say it's necessary. I would say it's preferred.
Can you give us like maybe 5 things to remember concerning 5 tips to remember concerning personal development?
Yeah, one is what you do every day is who you become. I think that's a good thing to understand. So if you can learn every day, you will become somebody who is very knowledgeable. So understanding that your habits are what's going to make up your life eventually. That's a great one. Another one that I look at and I think about often, and it's a question, are the people in your life the best from your past or the best for your future? So very much like you are the sum average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are you spending time with people because you used to be friends in high school, you used to date, you used to go to the bar, you used to blank, 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 or because they're actually going to help you get to your goals in the future? I think that's a very, very, very important question. What's another one? I would say that Many of us say that we don't have time. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. When usually we're losing time throughout the day where we're just mindlessly throwing it away. So a good thing you can do is you can do a time audit. If you tracked every minute from the time you woke up until you went to bed, I guarantee you would find some time in there where you're scrolling through your phone or you're in the bathroom for 20 minutes because you have your phone with you. Those minutes really add up. And, that can be something that is kind of a blind spot for people. That's an interesting one. When it comes to intimate relationships or business partnerships, get very clear on your core beliefs, your core values, and your core aspirations. One of the big reasons that relationships part is because those are not in alignment. So if my core belief of being generous or my core value of being generous is not met with somebody else, they might think I'm throwing my money away, and that could cause some sort of rift in the relationship. And what's one more? Understand what was it?
No, I said you give enough already, but you can give another one.
Yeah, understand the importance of compounding. Compounding, especially when it comes to money. If you can play the long game with money, with your habits, with your skills, in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, things can get really, really, really wild if you can use the compound effect to your advantage.
So in your journey as an entrepreneur, like your whole process until where you are today, what are some challenges that you face and how did you overcome them?
I would say the biggest challenge for me was not feeling good enough. That was a big part of it. Not feeling smart enough. That was a big part of it. Having imposter syndrome. That was a really big part of it. And then being very, very, very broke in the beginning. So not having belief in myself was probably the biggest one. And what I tried to do and what I still do to this day is I try to figure out, okay, where is my comfort zone? Where am I very, very, very comfortable? All right, cool. What's my learning zone where I'm just outside of my comfort zone, but I'm not at the point where I feel like the wheels are going to fall off the car? Okay, cool. Where's my anxiety zone? Where can I not last for very long? And then I try my best to live just outside of my comfort zone in the learning zone. And that's really, really helped me where I do a lot of things now every day that at one point I didn't believe I could. So I helped build belief by just taking small actions that seem pretty insignificant, but they really start to add up and you prove to yourself, oh, I'm way more capable than I realized. And then the money thing, I just studied money and I studied understanding how businesses worked. And I also leaned on my business partner who has a master's in electrical and computer engineering, and he's got his MBA, and he's just a very smart human being. So I asked those around me who had the results I wanted.
And what advice would you have for people who aspire to be entrepreneurs or already who are in the world of entrepreneurship? What advice would you give them?
Be radically honest with yourself about what you're good at and be radically honest with yourself about what you're not good at. I think there's a lot of people out there who think they should be the CEO because they want to be the CEO, when in reality, it's okay to be a number 3. It's okay to be a number 4. Understand that oftentimes our ego, the negative parts of our ego, is actually what's holding us back from success. And oftentimes we're getting in our own way. And again, I wanted to be the CEO of the company. I'm glad that isn't the way it went because I shouldn't have been, but that was an important piece for sure. And then if you're getting into entrepreneurship, make sure you have your P's in the right order. A lot of people start something because they just want to make profit. And I understand that. But the problem is in the first year, in the first 2 years, in the first 3 years, if you're not making any money, you're going to quit. But if you start something based on your purpose, if you start something based on your passion, and then you find a way to make it profitable, I think that's more sustainable. So I think some people have their P's in the wrong order. So I would say check with your P's and make sure they're in the right order.
And what advice would you have for with everything we talked about personal development? What advice would you have for someone who's considering of taking that step of personal development in their life?
I would say this is a very, very small, simple thing to do. Take out a spreadsheet, take out a piece of paper, a notepad. I want you to make 3 columns: health, wealth, and love. And I want you to create a new habit under each one of those today. So under health, start weighing yourself or exercise for 30 minutes a day. Cool. Under wealth, track your finances every day. Cool. Or learn for 30 minutes every day. Cool. Under love, if you have a partner, every night before you go to bed, just play the gratitude game. Hey, Richard, I'm super grateful that you did this today. And then you reciprocate. If you're in a solo relationship, you don't have a partner, you can play the gratitude game with yourself. Those 3 tiny things that might take you all of 5 minutes a day is a wonderful, wonderful place to start when it comes to self-improvement, personal development, because you're doing it holistically. You're not just saying, well, I'm going to make more money. Or you're going to be deeper in love, you're going to be in better health, and you will have more money as well. So all 3 can grow at the same time.
I like to ask my guests that question from time to time. This is, well, not off the topic, but it's just a question I like to ask. If you weren't doing what you're doing right now, as a career, as an entrepreneur, what would be the ultimate career choice?
Wow, great question. I would say this might be a surprise. Both of these, either a professional mixed martial arts fighter or a rapper. One of those two.
One of those two.
One of those two.
And why is that?
I've been training martial arts since I was like, I don't know, 18 on and off. I love it. I was at the gym. I did 10 rounds on the heavy bag today before this interview. And I love rapping. I've always loved rapping, but early on, I wasn't confident enough to like talk about it or put my stuff out there. And over the last 5 years, I just started releasing some small songs, and people really enjoyed them, and I really enjoy it. So I don't have a lot of time right now to do it, but I do miss it for sure.
And what are you working right now?
Oh man, we have so much going on. We just revamped our website. We are planning a retreat for this time next year. We have another live event coming up next year. But the main thing I'm working on is trying to make sure that the infrastructure behind the scenes is ready to continue growing and hold what we have coming in the near future. We've had a lot of growth recently, which I'm very, very grateful for. But it's really that. It's just maintaining the quality of everything that we do to make sure that we don't get overwhelmed or forget why we actually got to the place we are. So nothing really shiny when it comes to promoting things, but just working on keeping the business flowing and making sure that we're not holding ourselves back.
So is the main business the Next Level University? That's what it is?
Yeah. So I would say the main content piece that we do is the podcast. We do an episode every single day, but under that we have one-on-one coaching, and we have group coaching, and we have a web solution team, a podcast solution team, a social media solution team. So it's really a one-stop shop for not only self-improvement, personal development, but what most entrepreneurs are going to need when it comes to services as well.
Okay. And not when, but I mean, where can people find you on social media or the internet?
Yeah, if you search Next Level University, we will come up, and we are on all the major podcast platforms as well as YouTube. And then the best place to reach me is on Instagram. My handle is @NeverQuitKid. I do all my social media. I do my own DM, so I'm happy to connect. And any questions you have about anything, I am more than happy to answer.
So the podcast is Next Level University, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how long the podcast has been around now?
We started in April of 2017, so almost 5.5 years.
5.5 years. Okay. And it's very successful, huh?
Yeah, it's more successful than I ever thought it was going to be. Yeah, we're doing quite well, which we had more listens one day last week than we had in the first year. So I think things are going well compared to what I expected when I started.
Great. Any last words concerning everything we talked about? Personal development, success, entrepreneurship, business, anything you want to add?
I would say one of my favorite quotes: your reality becomes the parts of your imagination that you hold on to and pour into the longest. You are capable of really changing and turning your life around and becoming almost whatever you want in the future. You just have to hang on to that belief and pour into that thing every single day. And who knows where you can be in 2, 5, 10 years.
Great. All right. Thanks, Kevin, for being on the show. It was nice meeting you and having you and talking to you. Like I said, I like the energy, and once more, you're just proving it again.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Once again. So make sure everybody. Anyways, I'll have the information on the show notes for Kevin on the podcast after at the end. So on that note, thank you, Kevin, once again for being there. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching to this episode. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. And today's topic was personal development. I hope everybody found some value in it, and they're gonna implement a few things. Well, a lot of things that Kevin said. And so, yeah, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.